projecting myself well enough to everybody. If you can't hear me, feel free to be like, hey, speak up. But first of all, I would like to welcome everybody to this event. Thank you so much for coming by. I hope you're enjoying the food, and please feel free to help yourself to grab more food and drinks during this event. Again, my name is Camacho, and I'm president for MiraCosta Phi Theta Kappa chapter Alpha Chi Lambda. I would like to give a special welcome to Diane Dykmeyer, Vice President of Instruction at MiraCosta, as well as Jackie Simon, Board of Trustee member, who are here with us today. If you ladies could please stand so we could. They're not. Oh, they're just not here. Well, they will. When they are here, we'll acknowledge that. Anyways, we would also like to give a special welcome to our Phi Theta Kappa regional group who are here today, including Miriam Moody, who is our chief and Miriam will be giving our welcome this morning. So please join me in welcoming Miriam Moody to the stage.
So how y'all doing? Can you hear me? Yes. Yeah, I usually don't need a microphone. So, as Sharice had mentioned, I am the coordinator for the Nevada-California region of Phi Theta Kappa. Some of you may not be aware how large the Phi Theta Kappa is throughout the country. There's actually 29 regions within the country because it is so large, and we're also in 10 foreign countries. So Phi Theta Kappa is ever growing, which is amazing. So first off, I'd like to show my gratitude to the MiraCosta chapter for their insight, their creativity in putting this particular event on, because without that, we would not be here today and we would not have James with us. So thank you very much, MiraCosta chapter. I'd also like to thank MiraCosta College itself for allowing us to hold this event at this college, because it's a beautiful campus. And so we greatly appreciate that. We appreciate the faculty and staff that are here also from MiraCosta College, because without you all, these students would not be getting the education, the enlightenment, so to speak, that is beneficial to them. So thank you very much, MiraCosta College, and advisors, staff, faculty. Thank you. I applaud you all for being here. This is a very cool event because Phi Theta Kappa over the years has changed, it has grown, which is what we all need to do. And so gratefully, Lynn, our CEO and president, has realized that we need to move forward and change with the times also. And I think we have a microphone.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So I don't have to project as loud. So anyway, the fact that we have James here, our international president for Phi Theta Kappa, actually speaks volumes in terms of where Phi Theta Kappa has grown from. And so I'm grateful that James made the trip out here. Thank you, James. It was greatly appreciated. And I don't want to sit here too long. I am going to hand it back over to, is it Sharice? Who am I handing this back over to?
Yes.
Yes? So, Sharice, why don't you come back out of here? Please give her a warm welcome.
Thank you, Miriam. I'm so glad we have her mic. So now I would like to also introduce our special speaker, James Elliott. And I would like to share a few things about Mr. Elliott. When he was 19 years old, he was incarcerated for his part in an armed robbery and spent nearly 6 years behind bars. It was a wake-up call, and he began serving others in the prison through his work as a GED tutor. He also took correspondence courses through Ohio University and completed 15 credits, something he'd been unable to accomplish before his incarceration. Today, Mr. Elliott has obtained a dual degree in human services and drug and alcohol counseling. He is a member of the 2018-2019 Phi Theta Kappa All-USA academic team, as well as the first New Century Pathways transfer scholar with a criminal record. He hopes to attend a school in Washington, D.C. and intern on Capitol Hill. James is the first BTK international officer to have been incarcerated. He is a passionate advocate for higher education in prison, and he shares his story whenever he can to help inspire and empower others to overcome the barriers created by negative labels and social stigmas. I have seen firsthand the individuals affected by mass incarceration, Elliott said. I love to help others because I know that I would not be where I am today if it wasn't for those that helped me. I want to make the world a better place and spread more equity to individuals who are being locked out of society. Those were his words. With all that has been accomplished, he is most proud of his daughter, Veda, who was born on January 8, 2018. He considers becoming a father to have been one of the most amazing experiences of his life. Please join me in giving a warm welcome to James Elliott.
Thank you. Start by saying thank you very much to MiraCosta Community College for having me out here to beautiful California. You guys like to take a trip out here. Look at this. You don't get to see this in Delaware, so it's an amazing view. Thank you so much. It's something that when I was in prison, I could have never imagined happening. You know, being on a plane, flying to California to speak about my story and to inspire and encourage other students. So thank you very much for the opportunity, and thank you all for spending your Friday. We don't have classes on Friday. Coming out here back to campus to be a part of this event as well. Hopefully you gain a lot from me and as well as the other panel speakers. So my story starts, as you can hear in the bio, is in 2011 I made the worst mistake of my life. And something I like to say before I start is, when I tell my story, I don't tell my story for sympathy. I don't tell my story to bash victims, because at the heart of each crime is the victim, right? And there's someone that's hurt. And I'd like to give some background into why I changed. I changed for my victim, right? If I never changed my life, then what I did to my victims that night would have meant nothing, right? Hurting them and then going out and hurting someone else, I wouldn't have learned from my mistake. So at the heart of everything that I'm saying today, and you're going to hear me speak about mass incarceration and prison reform, these are things that research has proven to statistically show that it helps correct people, which then lowers crime. So I like to say that, and I really adapted that now because I see that what I talk about can be sensitive. Individuals in the crowd today might have been a victim from a crime, or might have a loved one who's a victim of a crime as well. So I'm not up here saying, you know, that is the main focus. That is why people who are reentering society want to change, because of the victims in our crime. So in 2011, I was 19 years old. I had just failed my senior year in high school. My attendance was awful. I was dealing, using drugs on a consistent basis, day to day. The microphone?
The people on Zoom can't hear what
Okay.
project.
Okay, yeah, I can do that. I love to project. So I was dealing, using drugs. I didn't have a care. I didn't care about anyone else. I strictly cared about myself. I cared about what I wanted. And what I wanted to do was get high, sell drugs. It funded my lifestyle, and I continued to do that. What I didn't realize is I wasn't inherently a violent person. I was arrested for armed robbery with a gun, assault. So I wasn't inherently violent, but what the drug trade is, it is inherently violent. I became a victim myself. I know what it's like to be a victim. I was robbed at a party, at gunpoint. So this changed my life, and hurt people hurt people. So because I was hurt, I decided to do the same thing. Myself and a couple friends, then that night in February, decided to do an armed robbery. Subsequently, I was sentenced to 7 years in prison. During my time in prison, the things that stick out most to me, I'm going to share today, is my time in solitary confinement. It was early on in my prison sentence, maybe 2 months in. And I spent a month in solitary confinement. And my birthday was in September. This was in September. So my 20th birthday alone is probably like I said, the most inhumane thing. When you're in a cell by yourself for 23 hours out of the day, we call it 23 in 1, you can't help but start to talk to yourself. And you see all those crazy, we call it crazy people, or people with mental health, they start talking to themselves. That was me during my time in solitary confinement. I had nobody to talk to. I had a window I used to look out, and you can see the officers coming in and out. I used to, in my head, basically fill in their conversations as they talk to each other. I would be acting out their conversations. But this particular day was my 20th birthday. And we all know what it's like to get a birthday card, right? Birthday card is something that everyone gets. You get it and you're just kind of like, this is great. It may make you laugh. It may make you shed a tear. But you put it to the side. You don't really worry about it anymore. And that birthday card came, and in solitary confinement, you can have anything in possession. I can have a Bible, my clothes, a towel, washcloth, things like that. That was it. So the birthday card came, and this time the guard was kind enough to put that birthday card on the small window on my cell door. And then I stood there and read that birthday card from my mom. And I couldn't tell you the impact that had on me. Just imagine standing there and reading something. You couldn't even touch it. How bad I wanted to touch it. How bad I wanted to be a part of that. And that stuck with me. And during those times of solitary confinement, I realized, life is not about myself, and I needed to change my life. So if you fast forward, I started taking, like the Bible said, I started GED tutoring. I took courses through Ohio University. In Delaware, we didn't have prison education. California is a great place for prison reform right now. Some of the great things in prison reform are happening here in the state, and we're seeing education programs, and we're seeing the benefit of providing opportunities to those who might not have had these opportunities before they went to prison. So they didn't offer it, so I had to go outside to get it. And in those courses, it truly transformed me. If you look at education, you look at recidivism rates. The national recidivism rate for America is almost upwards to 80%. That recidivism rate drops with vocational training around 37%. With associate's degree, it's 13%. With a bachelor's degree, it's 6%. And then an offender gets far enough to get a master's degree, the likelihood of them going back to prison is near 0%. So we see with the statistics, right? Education is truly the power for transformation for people who are incarcerated. It's providing them opportunities that they didn't have before so that they could help themselves and then not commit crimes. So that education changed my life. Up until that point, I never thought that I could be a student. It just never crossed my mind. And that inspired me to change. So with the education, I decided that I needed to help other people now. It wasn't enough for me to change, right? There are so many other people that are hurting, so many other people that need a second chance. I wasn't the only one. So I started to give back with GED tutoring. I ended up working my way onto an honor pod, which we call it in our institution. And I went up to in front of a classification board. It was a panel board, and I sat there, and it was lieutenant, some counselors, and some administration for the prison. And what they do is they ask you questions about your early release. I was eligible for 6 months early work release. And in that classification board, the lieutenant who was there asked me, "What do you want to do when you get out?" And I knew what I wanted to do at that time. I knew I was passionate about prison reform. I'd been reading literature, the new Jim Crow. I was reading books about prison reform and what it needed to happen. And I knew I was going to get out and change the world. And I told him what I was going to do. I was going to get out and share my story in hopes to change other people. Unfortunately, that day, he laughed in my face. And I can remember his smirk. I can remember his giggle. I can just, everything about it, I can still remember it. And I left that classification hearing devastated. I cried on the way back. I went back to my cell alone. I put my face in my pillow and I cried because I believed him. I believed that he was right. Who wanted to listen to my story? Who cared about what I had to say? Fortunately, I was granted early release. And for many individuals who are incarcerated, their true sentence starts when they're released. I know some people in this room have been in that situation. There's this thing called collateral consequences. The recidivism rate here in America is not so high just because people just make bad decisions. It's not just that. It's upwards 80% because there are collateral consequences that prevent them from re-entering society, such as reintegrating society. So I gave you statistics about education. And when I went to the work release center, I was ready to go back to school. That was what I was passionate about. I knew that I was going to change my life through my education. Unfortunately, they denied me access to school because they said they couldn't monitor me. So you can see how someone who's being released from prison, who has changed their life through education, who's motivated by it, who's seeking these opportunities, but is denied because of the system doesn't want you to go there. Right? So in Delaware, we were really restricted. We didn't have college courses. In prison, you couldn't even go to college course to the halfway house. So I was stuck, losing my passion, which could have defeated me because I could have just said, you know what? They don't want me to go to school. I'm going to go back to selling drugs. Why not? Because I can do that. And they can't stop me, right? They can stop me from going to school. They can't stop me from selling drugs. So I decided to get a job, and I got a minimum wage job. But I applied for a couple jobs. One of the jobs that I applied for was a janitor's position. Cleaning toilets, sweeping the floors. It was a good paying job at a hospital. It would have given me benefits. It was a good paying wage. It would have helped me and my family. And I was willing to do it. And when I interviewed for that job, they told me I didn't get the job because I was a felon. Well, I ask you today, if I can't clean a toilet, what am I supposed to do, right? If I can't even be a janitor, and I'm not thinking bad about verification because I wanted that job. I wanted that job. I wanted to do that. If I couldn't do that, what am I supposed to do? Another example of the collateral consequences that come with the label of a felon. So what I did was I went into the food industry. I worked at Panera Bread, which was very good to me. I was making $8.25 when I got out, minimum wage. I was working and I did okay for myself. I ended up working my way up there. And if I could speak to anyone in this room who has been incarcerated and is out right now, integrity is the one thing that has helped me in my life. Because the minute you mess up, unfortunately, individuals are going to say, I told you so, I knew that that's who you were. Every day I had to go to that $8.15 minimum wage job with the integrity that I had when I worked in prison for 7 cents an hour. That same mentality, because I wanted to go home early, I made $32 a month in prison, and I worked 40 hours a week every day. That's the cheap labor that they have for me. And every day when I did that job, I did it to the best of my ability, and that carried over into my job at Panera, and I ended up doing well there. But I finally got back to school. I got released, and this is where I really want to stop and talk to all the students in the room right now. You guys are passionate about certain things in life. You guys want to change certain things in life. There is no traditional college student. You know, in the past we've seen this traditional student. What is traditional student, right? It's not existent anymore. And unfortunately, higher education we've seen is behind in times, right? For me, it was behind for me. So my college in some ways wasn't prepared for me as a returning citizen to be on campus. There are certain things that I needed, right? I'm gonna have an ankle bracelet. I can't attend every activity in school. I have to get my schedule a week in advance, and if I'm not home when that ankle monitor tells me to be home, I'm violated. I can be at school, it doesn't matter. I'm still gonna go back to prison. So each and every one of you are passionate about something. Each of you have a story, whether you're a dreamer in this room right now, and you're here and you're trying to go to school, you have a voice, and your voice can change society today. You don't need to be in your career to change society. You can change society today. So there were things that when I was in prison were impossible. Unfortunately, in Phi Theta Kappa in 2016, it was impossible for a person that was a criminal to join the society. They were joining, but they weren't being honest about what they were doing. They couldn't run for leadership positions because if they ran, it would be exposed, right? So that was an impossible feat. In Delaware, like I said before, it was impossible to take college courses. They didn't fund it, they didn't have it. Most students don't have the money to pay for it, but they had a support system that did. So that was impossible. Scholarships that I won were impossible, right? So think about right now what's in your life that you're passionate about that's impossible. That you think it can't happen, right? It can happen. And it's not gonna just be you alone. I didn't accomplish anything that I've done on my own. I've accomplished it with the help of others. But don't limit yourself and the power that you have in a student's voice. Please don't limit yourself. Your success, your story can change lives. It truly can. So, I got active in campus. I got, my first semester I got a 4.0. Unfortunately, I hasn't stayed there because college is hard. But I got invited to Phi Theta Kappa, and they were changing their constitution, and timing is a lot, right? Timing is everything. I got invited to Phi Theta Kappa, and I joined. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know really what it was. Honestly, I just thought it's something I could put on my resume. It would make me look good. You know, I need all the help I can get right now. So I joined, and then I got active. 5 minutes. It took me 5 minutes. You know, we might think we're so busy. Like, if you're an active Phi Theta Kappa member, raise your hand. If you're active, you attend meetings, you're helping out on your chapter level. You guys are doing what it takes to be leaders. Because some students don't want to take that 5 minutes that can change their life. If I never took those 5 minutes and decided to meet my chapter president and join and get involved, I wouldn't be where I'm standing today. So I encourage you, if you're a Phi Theta Kappa member and you're not active, to get active because it will change your life. And if you are active, continue to be active because you're developing professionally, you're developing skills you need to be leaders in the future. So that leadership role had me stand out on my campus. I became one of my campus's top students. I got an opportunity to internship with a program called the APEX program. APEX program in Delaware works with pardon and expungements for returning citizens. And if you hear me say returning citizens, that's what I refer to as felons or ex-felons. I think those labels are extremely stigmatizing, and I like to just call us returning citizens because we're coming back into society. When you call someone a felon, we automatically, it's human nature. I even do it. If I know that somebody's a felon, I'm going to react to them a certain way until I catch it and correct myself. So I work with returning citizens, helping them get pardoned and expungements. Another thing that was impossible in Delaware when I started working with the APEX program was, if you had a felony record, you could never get that expunged. If you're not familiar with pardons and expungements, a pardon legally pardons your crime, but it still shows up on your background. So when we're speaking collateral consequences and we're thinking about problems about returning to society, if I'm a felon right now, and I get a pardon, and I go to apply for a job, and they run my background check, they're going to see those crimes. It'll say pardoned, and I'll have a letter from the governor, but think about if you're that CEO, or you're the manager that's hiring someone. That's still going to get into your head, you're still going to think a certain way. So the inability to get an expungement permanent keeps that label permanent. And when you have a felony, you were never able to get that. So at that time in Delaware's history, you couldn't get expungement. And I knew this, and I was working with the system. And every day I was going to that work with integrity. Every day I was going to class with integrity. And that all culminated in this past year. So this past year I reached the pinnacle of student leadership inside of the Society of Phi Theta Kappa, being elected from 4,000 students at our Catalyst convention. If you haven't been to Catalyst, you guys are a lot of new members. Work really hard so your college will send you. It's an amazing experience. It's in Grapevine, Texas this year. It's a great way to network. It's just a great atmosphere to be around. It's truly a party, and we just have such a good time, and you'll enjoy it. But at that convention, I ran my campaign on labels. I knew that I needed to connect with other students, right? Each and every one of you sitting in this room right now have a label. My label happens to be a felon. But our journey is still the same. We're still trying to defy that label. Someone might call you an illegal immigrant, right? Someone might say just anything that you can think of, a negative that's put on you. You have to defy that label. And that's what I ran my campaign on, and I tried to connect with students and say, we all have the ability to defy these labels. These labels do not make us who we are today. We control our own narrative. And that resonated with the society. And as Meredith said, the society just so, as a group, we chose to elect me to represent them, showing that we believe in second chances for everyone, no matter who you are. And that was an amazing accomplishment. Before, that was impossible. Right? And then right after that, scholarships come around. Who has applied for scholarships in here for PTK? Who started and hasn't finished? Be honest, it's okay. So they extended the deadline, December 8th. You got a whole month to do it. It's an opportunity that truly changed my life. I just heard the bio. To be considered the top 20 students in the nation in community college is an amazing accomplishment and something that I'm proud of today. And it's an accomplishment that is given to me because people offer me second chances. Right? You have ability to apply for the All USA right now. New Century Scholarship is selected once. Is it one student or two students from each state? I think it's one student. One student from each state. New Century Scholarship. You know, and I gave, Coca-Cola gives that scholarship out and funded it. And up to that point, they had never given it to a felon because they didn't want to do that, right? But I applied for that scholarship, and they had serious discussions. I was able to hear about it from Dr. Lynn, and I spoke to the CEO of the Coca-Cola, not the whole thing, but she was down in Atlanta. And I spoke to her, and they had really dialogue saying, you know, what are we going to do here? This student is deserving, but do we do this? Right? This is breaking down barriers for people that come behind me. Each and every accomplishment that I've had is for myself as well, but it's for the person that comes behind me. Especially speaking to people that are reentering society. Your success is going to dictate another person's chances. Unfortunately, when it comes to reentry, when one person messes up, they take it away, right? And if you don't succeed, it closes the door for somebody else. And I don't want to put a big weight on your back, but we owe it to the people behind us to do that. Right, so that's another accomplishment that was impossible to happen. So with that great success, a local news article was written about me, and I came home, and it was a blessing. It came out on Easter morning. It was like a great present from my mom, who has unconditionally loved me and been the best supporter ever. Kind of that redemption story. You have to see herself on the paper, and the front page was actually me and her. When I won the election, I broke down and cried in her arms. Great, powerful picture, and she was there too. That picture was picked up by USA Today and was posted nationally. And so with that national recognition, local politicians in the state of Delaware know my story. And what I didn't know at the time is they were working on legislation with pardons and expungements. And the state Senate Bill 37. I was reached out by a local politician and public defenders, and they asked me to come share my story at the committee hearings for the votes. And so I went to there, and I shared my story at the committee hearing. And like I said, I'm not the only one that got that bill passed. There are legislators that worked really hard. There are activists everywhere. But my voice was heard in that. And the passing of that bill for the first time in Delaware now, and myself, felons can get an expungement. And that label can be broken. Right? It's a perfect example. I share my story, like I said, for use in this room to inspire you guys. What is picking at your brain? What do you want to change? Right? There's something that's in you right now. You're saying, I can change this. I can do it. You can. Take that 5 minutes. Phi Theta Kappa is a great place to start. I leveraged my platform with Phi Theta Kappa. My regional officer here is where my story got exposed in Phi Theta Kappa. I used my position to leverage what I wanted to do. And Phi Theta Kappa loves that about their students. They want to help you grow and push what you want as well. So use that 5 minutes, change your community, and change your life as well. And the second thing is, like I said, in Delaware, the Second Chance Program. Is anyone familiar with the Second Chance Program? So in 1994, the Second Chance Program was taken away. That was a big year. Bill Clinton passed a lot of hurtful policies that have accumulated to what we have today with mass incarceration. So Second Chance Programs was like students here. I'm a Pell Grant student now in society. They pay for your college. You have to pay that money back. So we had that in prisons all across the nation. And in 1994, we took it away. We stripped that opportunity. And remember the statistics I gave you. And we see, like, when you strip that away, why the recidivism rates go high. It's not just education, it's a lot of things. But that's one of them. So in 2016, the Obama administration brought it back. And the Obama administration said, we're going to do a Pell Grant pilot program. And they got about 62 institutions across the country to join. Unfortunately, Delaware, we didn't join. And what stinks about Delaware not joining is, there's only one community college in Delaware. We're so small. There's one community college, 4 campuses, and each campus is strategically located right next to a prison. So if we applied for the Second Chance Pell Grant, we could then hit every prison in the state of Delaware. Now here in California, MiraCosta might be in the Pell Grant program, but there's no way that they can hit every prison in the state. It would just be impossible. So Delaware had a great opportunity at that time to get involved, and they chose not to. And that's why when I was in prison, I didn't have that ability to have those college courses paid for. So when I got to campus in 2017, my goal was to get them involved in Second Chance Program. So I went in front of my administration and I said, this is something we need to do. Look at what education's done in my life. And fortunately, I had that great year where I had those academic successes. And they heard me. And in September 17th was the cutoff date for the Second Chance Program. And Delaware Tech submitted their application for that program. Right? It's leaving your mark and leaving your legacy at your community college that you guys can truly do. And that's something that I'm extremely proud of for myself because, like I said, that's helping someone else behind me. So what I really, with my story, I continue to say is community college students are changing the world, right? And in a lot of ways, our schools are doing a great job on trying to cater to the different individuals that walk on our campuses. But in a lot of ways, we're still behind. And in many ways, we can say, this is unfair. This is not changing for us. We can't do this. Or our state legislation's not helping me. I have to wait until I get a degree and then I can change it. You can change it today with your voice. You can. You truly can. There's power in your voice. There's power in your story. There's power in your journey. And I pray that you realize that. And I pray that you really say, I have value. I have something to bring to this table, and you can truly change the world. I'm going to leave you with a quote from one of my favorite people. His name is Aubrey Graham. Anyone know who Aubrey Graham is? Drake. Everybody knows who Drake is, right? Drake says, when writing the story of your life, don't let anyone else hold the pen. How powerful is that? When writing the story of your life, don't let anyone else hold the pen. What would have happened if I let someone else hold the pen in my story? They just let them write me off as a felon. I fell in the statistics of 80% and I was back in prison. Right? What would have happened in your life when someone tried to write you off? Right? What would have happened? Where would you be at right now? You wouldn't be here right now today. So I leave you with that, and I want to say it again. When writing your story, don't let anyone else hold the pen. You can change the world. You have your pen. You write your journey. Continue to be excellent students. You guys are Phi Theta Kappa members today, so you already are succeeding in many ways. You already are doing a great job, but that 5 minutes can truly change your life. Thank you.
Thank you, James.
Thank you.
Thank you for that motivational speech, and you're truly an inspiration to us. Thank you. Now I would like to introduce our panel. Of course, James is part of the panel. If you guys could please come to the stage. Next is Vice President of Service for Phi Theta Kappa at MiraCosta College. We have Robert Bennett. And then we also have Ashley Gerda with MiraCosta College. And Ivan Chavez, who's a student at MiraCosta College. These students are all formerly incarcerated students who have turned their lives around and are now giving back in service to their community. Our moderator will be Ava Davari, and she'll be posing and answering questions. And I'm going to hand it over to her now. Thank you, guys.
Okay, good morning, everybody. Thank you for being here to talk about your experience as a formerly incarcerated student. My name is Ava Davari, and I'm the VP of Scholarship here at MiraCosta CTK, and I will be today's moderator. Audience, please feel free to ask questions throughout this time. Before we begin, please introduce yourselves, tell us your major, career aspirations, background, and anything else you would like to share about yourselves. Okay. And then we have 2 new people that are going to be on our panel now.
Some chairs.
Yeah, we'll stick to the other side.
Please scoot down.
Thanks, Jim. Sorry, guys. Sandra. So does anybody want to start first? And?
My name is Martin Altman, and I'm a major in criminology. My inspiration is to, be people in the law enforcement. I'm currently an intern for the executive probation. Oh, sorry.
There you go.
Let me start all over. My name is Martin Martinez, and my major is criminology. I'm trying to go to Dr. San Marcos, and I'm currently an intern for the San Diego Department of Probation, and I was incarcerated from 14 years old, over 18 at the time, and I was able to make it out and come to school and try to work for a better life.
Hello, my name is Sandra Mora. I am a formerly incarcerated person too. I am currently at Delaware College as a student. I'm hoping to launch my career in alcohol and other drugs. because of my lived experience with gangs and drugs. My passion is to be able to work with youth and try to help them before they get lost in the system. I am currently working for the Vista Community Clinic, has a program for troubled youth, and it's called Resilience. So I am a community mentor also. Okay. Because of my history and my lived experience, I believe that we have a lot we can provide for these teenagers and these kids, just giving them some hope that their life can be different.
Hi everyone, my name is Ivan Chavez. I'm a native of North Carolina. I grew up in San Marcos and Arkansas. I'm also a previously incarcerated student. I was released in January of this year. I did 13 years in prison. I was tried as an adult when I was 16. I went to juvenile hall. I went to youth authority. I ended up in prison by the time I was 18, all in one shot. While I was in prison, I started off in a maximum security prison at 4 yard. I was 18 years old, so you can all imagine how that was. Like I said, I was released in January, so from then, all those years till now, it was definitely a learning experience. It was a real eye-opener. I was involved in gangs. I was living the street life. I wanted to be part of the cool kids. I wanted to fit in. It took me a long time, a lot of years for me to realize that that wasn't the path for me, and it shouldn't be the path for anything. Now, like I said, I was released in January. I'm currently a student at San Diego City College. I'm waiting on my application to go back from San Diego State University. I got in contact with Project Rebound. I don't know if anyone is aware of what that organization does, but they help previously incarcerated students in going to community colleges and eventually in going to university. So they're helping with their admittance into state. Next semester will be my last semester at San Diego City College before I wait for fall 2020 and then to San Diego State University. My goal is to help students, also the youth, especially those who are already system impacted, those who already have been incarcerated, have been out, also those who are already on probation or in continuation schools. My goal is to share my story, show them that there is a way out, and that there's some good. I'm a sociology major, so that's my main focus. Thank you for having me.
My name is Ashley Gerdo. I'm also a formerly incarcerated student. I am also a former foster youth student. I grew up to 2 addicted parents and was abused my whole life. CPS took me away twice. I ran away at 15 and quickly became addicted to drugs and the street life. I got my first felony 3 days after my 18th birthday and accumulated many more along the way. I got clean and sober December 23rd in 2011, and I haven't gone back to jail or to drugs. My major is nursing. My career aspirations are to work in the NICU with the babies, especially the post-tox babies. I helped found a club here on campus called Transitions Collective. It is for formerly incarcerated students. I think that's it.
I'm Marvin. I am also a previously incarcerated student. I was incarcerated as a juvenile, got off juvenile probation, and then committed several crimes throughout my adult history. And this last time at 35, I was arrested. I realized that it wasn't all the outside things that I was blaming. The problems that I was having, it was myself, and I needed to change something. So, you know, I've been clean for 2 years, 10 months, and, you know, I'm able to give back to the community by helping with PTK as the VP of service, by being, you know, selfless and giving back to, and, you know, because in my addiction I was selfish and self-centered, and so, like, practicing selflessness outside of the program, the NA program that I belong to, is giving me an opportunity to help others and feel better about myself. And you know, I also took over the subcommittee at the regional level for NA 7 or 8 times. I do monthly publication, and you know, I'm really active in that. And I also do H&I. I coordinate where we have on Tuesday nights, and I also lead a panel one Tuesday night a month. And you know, I'm grateful for the life I have today, and the things that I've gotten. Not the material things, because those can go away. You know, it's pretty much the relationships I've been able to build, and the closeness with my family and friends and girlfriend. You know, things.
It's not often that I get to sit on a stage full of individuals like me, and how incredibly empowering it is to sit on stage with you guys and to hear your incredible stories and hear how you guys have overcome your obstacles. It's truly a blessing to me. I mean, I really feel a sense of family. You know, I haven't even met you guys, I've just did introductions, but a sense of family and a sense of understanding, mutual understanding of what you're going through on a daily basis. I had the privilege of talking to Robert last night and getting to know him and to hear his transformation and to see his motivation to give back and help others, and the battle with addiction that many do not overcome, because it is a disease, it's not a choice. It's a disease that people have and are fighting it on a day-to-day basis. It's really inspiring. So I'm just so thankful that you guys were going to be up here. It takes a lot to get up here and say, you know, I messed up, because unfortunately not everybody is receptive. We're in a family at PTK where the extremely is accepted, but sometimes people are not accepted. So thank you for your courage. Thank you for being with me and having my back as well. It's a great feeling. So you guys know me, I'm James. Career goal probably, like dream goal would be like Supreme Court justice. That can never happen. But right now, I want to see if I want to get into politics and be a politician probably, and continue to work with policies and laws and change.
Great, thank you everybody. So now we're going to start off with some questions, and if anybody has any questions in the audience, feel free to just raise your hand and I'll call on you. So first, we have, what is the most challenging aspect of being a formerly incarcerated person and or student? If anyone wants to go first.
Hi, Sandra, once again. I'm a grateful recovery addict, and I think the most challenging part about coming back into society is trying to find a way, not knowing which way to go, and then coming to find yourself in wanting to further your education after so many years, coming into campus and kind of feeling scared at the same time, you know, because it almost felt like we didn't fit in, you know. But those barriers, you know, as long as you don't give up, you overcome. You know, and that's what we learn how to do. We learn how to survive, how to be resilient after falling down, how to be able to get up and keep going. You know, and it's scary. It's scary because nobody, you know, after everything that you've done, it's like very conscious. That one part of you tells you you don't belong here, but it's what you want to do. And you continue to do it. And at one time, I remember feeling lost because this is where I started my my college trip, you know. So I felt lost. I was like, oh my God, I'm like the oldest one on campus, you know. And then I you know, because I was in my English class, I felt like I was like the oldest one, and then my math class, I was like, oh my God, what am I doing here? I don't belong here. And I would get discouraged, but my sister works here, so I couldn't run.
Right.
You know? So yeah, and then after a couple of months, you know, I thought I was going to take a break. I went, I get the call from my boss who just walked in, and he tells me if I want to take this summer course at Palomar for the transitions. Yes, with Martin Leva, and I can honestly say that it changed me. It changed me in the way I want to somebody else. Thank you.
One of the most challenging things was just being around a lot of people. For me, like going to the mall was kind of like, because I was involved in gangs, and just being around a lot of people was one of the most challenging things. And then kind of like her, I didn't know anything. I just came in by myself, I go behind, and I was like, wait, I was like, that was it. And not knowing the way around campuses, not knowing all the programs available. Like PK, I got a invitation from them, and I thought it was like a scam. I was asking me for $95. I was like, who are these guys that get down here? So that was the most challenging thing, overcoming believing that I don't fit in.
I believe reintegrating back into society was one of the most challenging things for me. Specifically in the simple things. For example, the very first day I ended out and I went to Walmart, I remember I started getting anxiety. There was way too many people, there was too many moving, just park, just everything, it felt a little bit too much for me. And just those small things that you don't realize are going to affect us from the least until we experience. And for someone who hasn't been incarcerated, they're going to feel why we're back in anxiety. It's all comes back to being incarcerated. So just small things like that, which I don't have a problem with anymore, but I address it pretty well. But also definitely maneuvering my way through, for example, enrolling in college. There are certain aspects of being on campus and not fully feeling like you fit in, because my story, as well as everything else, is very much, it's a little bit different than an other student. So sometimes it is still hard to relate, because in some ways I can't, because most of my all the way to New Jersey, almost all the way in prison. So it's still a process, but I'm accepting it. I'm taking charge of what I'm doing, and I'm very confident that everything's going to work out.
I could probably spend the next 45 minutes talking about all the things, but I think it boils down to like the little things that a lot of us take for granted. I masked myself and my emotions and my feelings and my identity with drugs for so long that when I got clean, I didn't know who I was anymore. I didn't know, like, now what do I like to do for fun? Because partying was fun for me, and then it became no longer fun, but I had to keep doing it to maintain, to survive. So I think like little things, I'm like having choices and freedom, like something as simple as like what do I want to eat, when that is normally something that is just provided for you, like you have no choice, you know. Having the freedom and no longer having the structure was a little bit nerve-wracking for me. It gave me plenty of anxiety. When I decided I wanted to come back to school, like I dropped out of high school in 10th grade, and I didn't really go to 10th grade at all, so basically 9th grade. When I decided to come back to school, like it was the little things, like something as stupid as like I raised my hand to go to the bathroom, and pretty much everybody laughed at me. Like, you don't need to do that in college, you know, you just get up and go, don't even really have to come back. And then so it's little things, it's little things like that just, you know, kind of like pick at the low self-esteem and the labels and the stigma that I put on myself, much less that society has put on me. It was things like filling out for financial aid, like not having my parents' information and not knowing that I didn't need to have it. Like I stressed on that for months because I thought that I had to, you know, find out what their taxes were and all this stuff. And it was overwhelming, you know, filling out all that paperwork and the application for school and things like that. that maybe other people have like help, they have like some healthy parents in their life who help them and walk them through that. And then of course, like when I decided what I wanted to do with my life, like I always wanted to become a nurse. Nursing runs in my family, and then finding out because of my felonies I can't do that. So, and then finding out that I can't through expungements, right? And when the Prop 47 law came into pass, and I can get my felonies reduced to misdemeanors, but I had to go petition the courts for it. And just all of the fears that come along with that. I built a strong community of friendships and mentors and faculty advisors and stuff, and so I was able to get a bunch of different letters of recommendation. And so I was successful in getting all 5 of my felonies reduced to misdemeanors. And I had some restitution that I need to pay off, and once I pay that off, I went to a clinic called the Clean Slate, and it's a bunch of public defenders and paralegals that volunteer their time, and they help you fill out the paperwork that you need to submit to the court. So as soon as I pay off that restitution, I just had a baby and I'm a full-time student, so money's tight, but thank you. As soon as I pay off that restitution, I'm going to petition the courts for an expungement, and I can then enter the nursing program in Cal State San Marcos.
I think the hardest thing for me was, I would relate to Ashley and the fact that feelings, I masked them for so long, using for 21.5 years, you know, and that was the biggest obstacle I've overcome, but also balance, because I was in a treatment facility for 14 months, and you know, I had to do step work and different things, and juggle school and those things all at the same time. And you know, I'm grateful that I have that freedom to do those things, because you know, I was a slave to my addiction for so long, and you know, I basically used it against my will for so long that I'm grateful that I got locked up, because I don't think I would stop otherwise. So it's definitely giving me a new chance, and I'm doing a lot with that. And I forgot to say my major. My major is landscape architecture, and I actually graduate in May, and I'm really excited about that.
When you hear each of these returning citizens talk about their struggles, to put it into perspective, prisons in the United States, unlike other countries, are set to keep you out of society and don't mimic society. It's called institutionalization. So each and every one of us during our time in prison, we're institutionalized. And what they want us to do, what society wants us to do, is to re-enter society. But what people don't understand is that you're not prepared to re-enter society. You're prepared to be in prison. You're prepared to be told when to use the bathroom, when to eat, where to go. So when they let us go, and in many cases the support is not there, you get what these individuals have had to struggle with. I'm not ready for society. I don't know what society's like. If I've been in jail for 13 years, I haven't been out in 13 years. I was a kid when I was out. What changes in 10 years, right? And so we're not equipping these individuals. These individuals aren't asking to live a life of crime. All of us are up here saying, we want a second chance. We're trying to do the right thing, but these are the blocks that are preventing us. It's not like we're up here saying, we want to go out there and harm people again, and we want you to let us do it. No, we're trying to be a nurse, trying to be a landscape. We're trying to get into college. We're trying to get back. You know, we're trying to get away from the gang life. And that's really where the struggles come in. And so you're really seeing how our prisons need to mimic more of society. We need to be kept out of society because we've committed a crime, and we do need to serve time. But while we're in prison, let's work on getting us ready for society so that when we get out, we're not worried about my first time out. I was at the bus station. I had to go from work release. I had 3 hours to go get an ID at the DMV, and I had to ride public transportation. Never ridden a bus before in my life. And if I didn't make it back in 3 hours, I was going back to prison. They didn't give you help. They give you a bus ticket, and they say, go, when the bus comes. The overwhelmingness, right, of being anxiety, of being just in Walmart. Like, what do? I'm on the street right now. There's no one next to me. How am I going to get this, right? It's that. So we need to work, really are identifying as that institutionalization that unfortunately everyone experiences, whether you fight it or not, and how we're not properly preparing our citizens to re-enter into society.
Thank you, everybody. I believe we have a question over here. I'll bring the mic over to you.
Hello, good morning, evening, afternoon, everybody. Really quick to the panel. For somebody who was formerly incarcerated, I did a little more than a half a decade in prison and came out, and I've been in MiraCosta for the last 3 years, and I've been home. And this is my safe haven here. That's my mentor, and this is my life here. In times when I struggle, I go to Adrian, but it's times where I can't go to Adrian. I can't, because you know, he might be out of town doing a conference helping another student or something like that. What things do y'all do, or what small things that count that help y'all to give y'all that extra push? Because like, transitions ain't here no more. So I don't have that backed up sometimes. And sometimes I stumble like we all do. So what can y'all tell me those times when I'm stumbling and I'm falling, and those times when I might just need an extra little what helped y'all? What helped you, sir?
That's you. That's you.
Yeah, that's you. I'm talking you, Mr. Sir, right here with the medal. Because I came here because somebody told me that you was formerly incarcerated. They was about to have a panel, and that motivated me to come sit down. That's why I'm here today. Because you motivate me right now, man. I've been doing this shit for 3 years, man. To see you at the top is a motivation, bro. That's real.
I think it's probably, all you guys will answer this question because it's such a great question. And I think each person is going to find differently how to do that, right? For me, you get through a period of, I was talking with individuals where my main goal every day was just not go back to prison. If the bare minimum was that I didn't go back to prison, and it's the same way with addiction. It's not used. I may not accomplish anything else that day. I might sit in my house all day. But as long as I don't go back to prison, it's a success, right? And there's a period of time where I finally feel like after 3 years, I'm transitioning from that. I don't have to be worried about going back to prison, right? The statistics show that 80% is within 3 years. So statistically, like I might have this medal, but each and every one of these individuals right here has that medal too. 80%. They're in a small minority, and you are too, that stay out of prison. So working your routine. A routine was important for me every day. Knowing what I was doing. If I was going to school, don't stray from that routine. And listening to that voice in your head, right? That voice in your head tells you what to do. But when you ignore it, you know, that's when you end up in the wrong path. And what you're doing is perfect. You're out for 3 years, you're finding someone who's a mentor. You're investing in yourself and in your future. Find what you're passionate about. Find what your gift is, right? Your gift is something that comes naturally to you, that you're good at. I knew that my gift was leadership. Whatever that gift is, feed that gift. Use that gift to benefit others, and find what you're passionate about, and find where they connect. So my gift for leadership and my passion for prison reform met in Phi Theta Kappa and gave me a platform to speak, in which I do today, which motivates me to continue to do what I do and inspire other people, which then keeps me going, because I get beat down just like you, and I'm sure each and every one of you guys get beat down. But giving back would probably be key to me. Find someone else. He's mentoring you. Who are you mentoring? Right? Who are you mentoring? That's helped me. When I have accountability, who am I giving back to, right? And I need to stay straight for them as well. So find someone else who needs help. Obviously, we're here. Some of us are afraid to come out and say that we're returning citizens. We're here, and you can find someone that you can help as well that'll help you continue to go straight.
Similar, but in some ways, I rely on my support group in NA a lot, and then of course my family and my girlfriend. But pretty much like when I feel like I'm a little down, I usually try to reach out and help somebody or do something that is outside of myself. I try not to let my mind do the thinking, because I do have the disease of addiction, which manifests itself as thoughts, and my thoughts sometimes aren't the right thing to do, but I'm able to run it by people and see if it's the right thing or if it's the wrong thing to do. And I'm also able to help where I can, and like you said, if you have a mentor, you should mentor too, because giving back, it doesn't just help them, but it helps you feel good about yourself. And I actually got probation in a month, and I'm excited about that. The life I have today is a result of working a program of NA, and people showing me how to live life, because to be honest with you, when I got there, I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know how to live, and I suffered with the obsession use for like 6 years, 9 months, and thankfully my higher power removed that from me, and I'm able to live day in and day out, one day at a time. But at the same time, I don't really, even if I have a desire to use, like the thought doesn't get entertained, because I know that it will lead me back to where I was in places I don't want to be.
So to answer your question, there's like I said, there's a multitude of things. For me, I am also a recovery guru, so giving back to the women that I sponsor. When it comes down to me wanting to use, which eventually is going to send me back to jail or prison, I think about those girls, and I think about having to call them and let them know that I relapsed and that they need to go look for another sponsor. So if that's not something that you're interested in becoming a part of recovery, I think to piggyback off of what they both said, like Adrian's your mentor, and I think that like you need to go out there and find somebody that you can mentor, because it helps keep you accountable. But not only that, like giving back and being of service is, like Robert said, or Robert, okay, I was like, wait, he's like, brother, no. Like he said, sorry, like he said, like giving back, like it's fulfilling for you, but it's also, like how can I help somebody else, and how can I help break the cycles. And you just told me that your fiance is pregnant, right? So another thing for me is I have 2 little kids, right? And so breaking those cycles of abuse and addiction is my highest priority. And it's not just the physical abuse, it's the emotional abuse for me. I grew up very abused in many different ways, but like making sure that they are emotionally stable is like my main priority. So I think it's complicated, but it all comes together full circle. And when you find out your truth and you find out your passion, like your feet will be firmly planted.
To answer your question, whenever I feel down or I feel stressed out, I always try to evaluate the situation. I always try to pinpoint why it is that I'm feeling this way. In doing so, you're able to analyze it, process it, and find some kind of way, some kind of form to try to fix it. I know certain situations are out of our hands, and sometimes we have to accept that. For example, I get stressed out. I work 40 hours a week. I go to school. I don't get much sleep, and sometimes that can put me in a mood where I need to slow down. I need to do something else. Like, what? Can I just skip the semester and just go back next? And I always tell myself, I'm going through all this right now. It's hard. It isn't easy. But I know it's going to pay off down the road. I keep that in mind, and I also keep in mind that I'm doing something not only for myself, but I can be an example for a lot of other students who have gone through what I've gone through, who have gone through what you've gone through. And I feel it's up to us to set that example, not only for ourselves, but for those around us, so that they can see that there are people who can come out and reintegrate and be successful. So I always keep this in mind, and that's what helps me.
Sandra, what's helped me when I get that same feeling, same spot that you were talking about, and you're basically by yourself in your own head, I'm my own constant reminder that going back is not an option to me. It's not an option. I learned how to stay away from old people, places, and things that used to make me go the other way. So sometimes I have to check myself, and it's like a check-off list. You know what I mean? Like, who am I hanging out with? Who have I been talking to? Or what's going on that's giving me to feel this way? And if it's not a good thing, then I have to learn how to separate myself from it, even if it's family. Because it's not an option today. I deserve to live a good life, and I will not give that away for nobody.
One of the things I do when I feel phenomenal, I won't feel the things she mentioned. I feel like you like it up, it's like something you feel as well. So I feel really good. my battle too as well, and you know, just being positive example to others. For my brother, I think went to the bathroom, you know, being an example for him, so he doesn't fall into anxiety, and check. But I see my son, and I think about the stuff I had to go through, and picture him going through the same stuff, and not making it happen, and pushes me forward.
Before I get this mic, holding on to it, is that when I started volunteering for the facilities program, helping the youth, it gave me a sense of self-worth, you know, and that I was able to give back to the community. And when you do something like that, especially after coming from a lifestyle like the kind we live, you know, in gangs and drugs and violence, it makes you feel like the struggle that you went through and all the harm and all the crime that you did, you're paid forward to helping these kids not to have to go through the same thing. And if you find yourself a program that you can do that to, and be able to share your story with somebody else, it's going to be somebody else's salvation.
I believe we have one more question from the audience, so I'm going to bring the mic over to you.
I have a two-part question. And thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for being here. My first question too is, when did you come to that aha moment? As to, you know, I need to do something different. I think it's important for everybody to hear that. And then my second question is, as you know, we're sitting at an institution. Again, we have a lot of students that may identify or don't identify that are just as impacted, formerly incarcerated, what have you. I guess my question is, words of wisdom, as an institution, what can we do better to serve you?
I've been told we are running a little bit low on time, so if just one or two of you want to answer that question, that'd be great.
Well, for me, the aha moment was 2 days before Christmas, and I was out on bail, and I was running for my bail bondsman, and they were looking for me, and I was going back to jail. And I couldn't fathom, let alone my family wanting me around for the holidays, and I was too ashamed to be there, and I couldn't stay away from the drugs long enough to be there. And then my bail bondsman coming and looking for me, you know, on Christmas as well. And so that was the moment for me where I just decided to surrender and turn myself in, and I knew I was going back to jail, but I was broken enough and I was desperate enough that I wanted something different and I didn't care. So that was my aha moment. And as far as what can the faculty do to serve us better, I think that for this, someone who is able to voice themselves, I was really ashamed to be able to come up here and admit, I've done a couple of these panels, and to admit, and you know, now you guys are going to recognize me and all of those things, but I think that finding my truth and speaking my truth and being able to be open to you guys has actually created more support than I could have ever imagined. Like Dr. Ha is here, and she's actually my mentor. So I don't know how to answer the question if the person is not willing to you know, come forth with that information. I think you guys do an amazing job, but I think it's also on us to be able to just be truthful about our situation and ask for help.
Thank you. I think everyone's rock bottom is different, you know, after being involved in gangs and stuff. My addiction got the best of me. So even though I was done, my addiction wasn't done with me. You know, and let me see, it was March 11, 2011, when I picked up a federal case. They gave me 7 years, I did 5. And see if I can. It saved my life because it gave me time to think about what I wanted in my life, where I wanted to go. I was able to get my GED. I was able to learn how to work, even if it was for 19 cents an hour. You know, and I kept the same job through that whole time. I became a supervisor there. I was able to support my own self without having to ask my family for anything. And when I got out, I had to stay at a sober living because coming back to Oceanside was not an option yet because I wasn't ready. Until I was able to find my own 2 feet and feel strong enough to come back. I came back and then and here I am, going to college. But everybody's rock bottom is different. And what saved mine was going to prison. You know, because they gave me time to get that monkey off my back of addiction. Because I had started using crystal meth since I was 13. You know, and I'm 44 today, and I've been clean going almost 9 years. I believe if you can have a program like Transitions and every campus, it would open so many doors for a lot of us who deserve second chance. Transitions is a program that was available to me at Delaware College, and it helped me transition into the college lifestyle with other people who have also been impacted through the system and came to the same lifestyle that I had just left. And we needed to find our way. We were embraced, and they made us feel welcome. They showed us what we had to do. And even after the classes were over, they still are there for us. You know, encouraging you as mentors. You know, today I'm able to go ahead and take my mentees through the resilience program that I work with and show them a different lifestyle. Every Tuesday night, I Cal State San Marcos for the Transitions Youth Group, and that's part of my giving back to the community. You know, so it's to teach them so they can learn, so they don't have to walk in our shoes. But that transition program, if it was available for everybody in every campus, it would open so many doors for us.
Real quick, I would say that my aha moment was when I was locked up this time at 35. I realized I was facing a 5-year prison term, and you know I realized that my disease was progressing, and you know I had never faced prison time before, but I was grateful that the DA gave me a program instead of prison time, and but I realized that at that point when I got locked up, that I wanted to die at that point, and that something had to change because I kept ending up somewhere where I didn't want to be, and you know, and I would say the way that the school has helped out is I was able to join OPS and they paid for my books, and they do different things that helps out with financial support. And you know, Ashley was saying, you know, if the person's open and asks for certain things, usually, I mean, the professors here are all really great professors. They're always, you know, if you use your voice and tell them what you need, then they usually help you.
Just to close, I'm sorry, I know you were able to go. Just to answer the second part of the question for schools, you know, we all are transitioning back into society. In some ways we are similar, but in many ways there are differences, right? I think if you look at a community college, we need to make sure that if we're administration, what are our wraparound services? Because it's not just us that need assistance, right? I mean, every student on the community college that are coming usually have a story, usually have something they're trying to overcome. And when you have those wraparound services, you have a food pantry, you have a clothing closet, you have counselors, mental health staff on board, you're going to be able to help the diverse student body that is just in this room right now, right? Because we're not the only ones that need help. We have specific needs, but when you have those wraparound services, you're getting everybody in there. You're going to get people who are returning to society. You're going to get the dreamers. You're going to get the low-income students, the people that are dealing with food insecurities. So really focusing on how can we as community college better provide wraparound services to our student body so that anything that they need, really this is like a one-stop shop when we come here. For us, it's getting our education, but it's also helping us get our lives together. A lot of us need that. We need that help. We need that assistance, and we need to speak. And I hope I inspired the student body today to know that there's power in your voice. There's so much power in your voice. Speak up. Don't be afraid to share your journey. It takes a lot of courage to do this. Like when I walk around campus, I'm known as the guy who's in prison, you know? And in a way that sucks, but in a way, like I said, it makes it better for somebody else. So don't be afraid to speak up as a student. I'm gonna say it was gradual. I mean, I think I didn't have one moment. It was the constant beatdown of prison. I mean, it took me, I was hard-headed, and it took years for that to like go away. So it wasn't just one moment, it's accumulation. Right.
We'd like to thank all of you for sharing your thoughts and experiences today. Every one of your stories was an inspiration. Also, thank you to everybody in our audience for all the questions that you asked of our panel. And now I just want to introduce quickly Diane Dykmeyer, VP of Instruction, and Jackie Simon, Board of Trustees member. If you're still here, if you want to stand up so we can applaud you. Okay, and in closing today, we wanted to introduce Tao Haas. Tao has been instrumental in helping our formerly incarcerated students in the region, including assisting them with scholarships. To date, her Transitions Fund has donated over $5,000 to scholarships for formerly incarcerated students at MiraCosta. We have a check to present to Tao to further help her scholarship work for these deserving students. This donation comes from MiraCosta PTK and a few anonymous donors. Tao, we would like to welcome you up on stage, which you already are, to accept this donation on behalf of our formerly incarcerated students and to give us some closing remarks.
You know, when I work with these students, this is the only event where I cry because these stories are just, you know, the most inspirational that I have ever worked with, and I work with a lot of students. And I just look at y'all and I'm so proud of y'all of what you've overcome and where you are and where you're going, and you lift all of us with your stories. So like James said, keep telling them. And I am so thankful to PTK for this money. I'll tell you that a lot of times our students these students, it's not just about the scholarships that they need, but sometimes their cars are broke down, and this is program money for that. Sometimes their rent is due, and they come to me and I think, yes, we'll help you for this month. Sometimes they need food, and it's the food pantry. And I want to bring up B because she brings up, she has our service, she runs our service line, also our food pantry, and she has a special message for someone on the panel. And I also want to thank Adrian because I'm not the only person. Adrian does this work. I have so many other colleagues who do this, so thank you to everybody. But yeah, B, I want to give my time to you.
I'm going to try and speak without crying. I didn't know about this amazing panel, and I was in a training and they texted me. It took me back to when I was in high school, my freshman year. Someone said, B, hurry, your sister's in a fight. And today he said, B, hurry, your sister's in a panel. I'm so freaking proud of her. This is my sister, Sandra, and I'm so proud of all of you. If you just knew a little bit, they probably shared their story, but her story, I mean, for me to see her here, she's lost so much, but she's gained so much more. Thank you so much. I'm so proud of each one of you. I know that the prayers of your loved ones are like coming to fruition. Thank you.
So I guess in closing, I appreciate all of you spending your Friday afternoon with us. Thank you so much, James, for being here to share your story and inspire us and to share your love with us. And I know that the audience is loving you back and loving all of you back. This is all about love, and that's what Smash says, that he feels the love here. And I want to encourage, and work towards an institutional way to provide structures that are needed, because I'm going to tell y'all on the real, sometimes I always speak truth, and even if it's hard truth, and the hard truth is, Fender said, she's at Transitions at Palomar, and Smash said Transitions is not here anymore. And the truth is that MiraCosta was the pilot program for Transitions here. And through institutional barriers and institutional resistance, that's why it's not here. It's not because the people didn't want it. And so we are trying to undo those barriers. If Palomar can do it, and we piloted it, why are we not doing it right now? To back us up and say, yes, this is what we want, because if anybody that the administrators listen to, sometimes it ain't us faculty, it's the students. So please use your voices, and we know that we need that program here. And so Adrian and I and a couple other faculty and staff, we piecemeal what we can. Ashley texts me, I'm on it. I look at her, I'm like, yep, I gotta answer this one. She's my priority. But I can't have 100 of those students, and Adrian can't have 100. Sometimes Smash texts me, and I'm sorry that I don't get back to you sometimes, because I am drowning too. And that's why we need that institutional support. And so thank you, Palomar, and thank you, Cal State San Marcos, and MiraCosta. We need to do better. Thank you. Thank you, Dolores, for giving me the last word. I know it's kind of depressing, but we got work to do. Oh, and there's plenty of food left, so please help us not waste